What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Keeping Up with Cash. It is your host, Cash Money Morgan. You guys, this episode, this is crazy. Like, this episode is straight up wild. In my opinion, as a 23-year-old girl who does marketing full-time, I would say this episode is like you're invited to my online diary. That's pretty much the vibe of this episode. It feels like forever since a solo pod, and I feel like the more that I do them, the more crazy they get. But this one, all good stuff. I'm a big fan. So let's just get right into it. So I don't even know where we left off. I haven't even listened to my other solo pod in a while, but I'm just gonna go from Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go from that. So December was a crazy time. December highlights. So in December, right away, I was really busy planning my company Christmas party. Basically, as the marketing coordinator, I'm in charge of all of that stuff. And I like party planning. It's so funny because I'm not really an organized person at all, but when it comes to putting on an amazing event, I'm gonna do it well. Pause. Before I get into the story, if you hear any noises in the background, it's because we haven't gotten to this part of the episode yet, but I have moved into my beautiful new loft downtown. And it is a Friday night. And you're probably asking, Morgan, why are you recording on a Friday night and not on a boring Tuesday? Don't you have a life? Yes, I do. I very much do have a life, and it's killing me not to do something fun on a Friday night. This is fun, don't get me wrong. But tomorrow is a big day for the podcast, so I really need to get good sleep and prepare and be ready for it. So I have some photo shoot stuff tomorrow, so I have to delay my fun Friday. Anyways, yeah, you see that? That's downtown life. It's a vibe. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Anyways, so in December, we had my company Christmas party. And I'm not organized as a person, but we wanted to make it have so much fun. I don't know what your company is like or in the corporate world, but in the corporate world, Christmas parties are like quinceañeras, bat mitzvahs, they're wild. And that was my responsibility. So me and my coworkers spent time planning games, down to the T, every single thing, every detail we thought of. And it was honestly such a fun evening. It was so great. Really, really fun. And then immediately the next day I had to move out of my apartment. So I had some great people help me. Shout out to my girl Reagan and Eva and Preston and everyone, Raul, Meredith, everyone who came out and helped, Trey, everyone was super great. Huge help. So I moved out of that apartment, and thank God it was about time. And I'm moving in with my BFF Eva, and so I'm kicking it with her. And that was fun. It was 3 weeks, but you know what it's like when you're living in a place that's just it's not yours. We had a blast, but your stuff is all over. You're trying to maintain work. It just you feel uneasy a little bit. You're just a little bit lost in the sauce. And so, but it was fun though. I feel like I needed it. And cats are growing on me a little bit. But yeah, so we had some fun living together, and then I went home for Christmas. And as everyone probably knows, there was a massive snowstorm right when I'm trying to go home for Christmas. And I didn't get to go home for Thanksgiving, so I'm itching to go home. I miss my family, I miss my dog, I miss Wisconsin. I'm just trying to go home. The day of my flight, boom, canceled. I'm like, what? Me and Eva, I think we sat on the couch and cried, and then binge watched all of Emily in Paris. And so, moving on, I made the best of it. My flight was rescheduled to Saturday. I was like, this is fine, this is okay. Everything's gonna be okay, we're all good, it's a vibe. So I go to the airport, I'm sitting there, and with the flight cancellations, it hit all the Midwest. It hit a lot, honestly most of the country. And so when I got to my flight, they're understaffed, there's cancellations, there's all these things. I knew I was gonna be delayed, but I wasn't worried about it. So I get there and they're like, okay, you're delayed. So I got there at 9 a.m. for an 11 a.m. flight, and I was delayed all the way until 4:30. So while I'm delayed, they were saying it's because they were missing a flight attendant and a safety officer. And so while I'm delayed, I find out that I missed 2 of my connecting flights or something, and then there's 1 available and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And so definitely I cried tears, I called my dad, I called rental car places, all of these emotions are happening here in the Springfield Branson airport. What? And I was so bored. So I just started meeting people at my gate, and we all became friends. Shout out to my girl Carmela, I just remembered her name. And there's also a cute little couple from Alaska. We all just like started getting to know each other. And at the point of time where I'm sitting there for hours bored, I was like, forget this, let's do a podcast episode. So I whip out my mic and I'm trying to pretend to do an episode, and like no one's really wanting to do it. So I go Instagram live and I end up trying to interview this guy. And next thing I know, we're finally getting boarded on the plane. And we get on the plane, and the flight attendant was awesome. She was like, since you guys had to not quarantine, oh my gosh, can you imagine? She was like, since you guys had to wait so long, you were delayed, free drinks for everyone, like this and this. I felt like I was in that TV show Manifest, with the airplane. It was just so weird. It was just the weirdest day ever. But we were all just kind of like having a vibe and laughing and having fun. And so I was talking to this guy, and then I get on the airplane and he was like, well, you should sit by me. And I was like, dude, I'm sitting in like 40. That's basically first class. Like, you have to sit by me if you want. So I get in the airplane, there's an empty seat next to me, and what do I know? He ends up moving and sitting next to me. So if he wanted to, he would. But that was so fun. And I was just like, this is the craziest experience ever. Like, him and I got to talking, and we kind of became friends, and maybe I'll have him on the pod sometime. But it's just, I love airports. I always have, and I always feel like airports are just a place to meet people and make friends and have connections. And I mean, everyone's from all over, so it's just like the most perfect place to have an experience, And so that was the first friend of the day, and it was so crazy. So I get to the Chicago airport, and all I want to do is eat at Chili's. That's like what I do when I get to the Chicago airport every single time. So I get to Chicago airport, I find my gate, I go to Chili's, and next thing I know, I'm talking to these people next to me, and this guy is from Green Bay. So like when you're from Green Bay and you meet another person from Green Bay, you're kind of like automatically friends, So we're friends, we're chatting it up, we're talking about the podcast, and next thing I know, we're on my next flight, and he's sitting next to me, and we're both listening to the podcast, and he's just laughing and all this stuff, and all these things, and then we get off the plane and we like never see each other ever again. Like it's just that thing. And so all this craziness at the airport, all the emotions, it really made going home and like seeing my family like that much sweeter, because really like when you're in that moment where it's almost Christmas, you don't realize like how much you really want to be with your family on Christmas, and how much you miss them, and how much what it feels like when you're not with them. And so, just being there was really good to kind of just, be home and be around my family and just do nothing with them and like relax. And so it was a really great time for the mentals and just to hang out. And it was a really quick turnaround though. A few days later I had to go back to work, and so that was a vibe. But so I get back and I'm living with my friend again, and we're chilling, and next thing I know, I have to go ahead and move into the loft. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, this is my loft. She's beautiful. Like, I'm in awe of her. And it's a woman. I'm especially making her a woman. I don't know like the name I'm gonna name her or anything. Every day I wake up, I'm happy, and every time I get home from work, I'm excited and I'm happy. And I just can't even like tell you really the last time I've ever had that experience with somewhere I was living. I really don't. Like, I just feel that every apartment I've lived in really has never just felt like, oh, this is me in my space and this feels so right. I've never, the last one was just because I was alone, but it still overwhelmed me so much in every area. And like this one I just love. And it's just a total God thing. As you can see, I'm sitting on this beautiful couch. This couch has a whole story too. It was originally $1,800 from Furniture Row. This is a total God thing. Like, I was pinning couches just like this on Pinterest. I got this from the clearance section for $50. Like, what? $50. And the guy was like, you better buy this couch. So I paid like an extra $100 for them to deliver it, and literally the hallway in this loft is so goofy because it's so small, but the couch wouldn't fit in the elevator. So it was, I told those delivery workers, I was like, give me your name, give me everything about you, because I'm leaving you the fattest Google review. Like, you're getting a promotion from this. Like, submits picture, like, that was insane. And so it's so weird because, I'm in this place in my life right now where I'm so happy. I'm happy with my job. I'm happy, in my church, in my house, this loft, like with a podcast, with this couch, with my friends. There's so many areas of my life that I wake up, I'm just like gratitude. Like I'm so thankful. It's like still so unbelievable to me. But also there's so many areas where I still feel so lost. Like and it's not me coming off like ungrateful in any way or like unappreciative, but I think, 3 weeks ago, you could have asked me 4 different questions and I would have given you 4 specific, precise answers about my future, what I'm wanting, what I don't want, like very strict on those things. And I think now you could ask me the same 4 questions and I would say, I don't know, I'm not sure, it's in God's hands, yikes. Like those are my answers because I don't know, I think every single day we just keep progressing and experiencing, and what we felt yesterday doesn't feel the same as it did before. And it's honestly crazy. And I don't know, and I feel like that's so relatable for so many people. I think sometimes we think, oh, if once I finish college and I'm in my career and then I find the right person and then I live in the right house and then we find the right church and we have the right kid, that everything in our life will be perfect and I'll finally be content and I'll be happy and everything will be good. And I think that's just like so not true. And I know as I sit sometimes on my couch and I dream about my life, I'm like, well, I could live here. What if the podcast did this? What if I went to that? And I think about it and I can dream all day long and I can be so excited. But then I think about like, well, the best friends around me, they're probably gonna live in a different state. Like they're not gonna be there. Everything in my entire life could look completely different in 5 years. And as exciting as that could be, it also freaks me out like really bad. And so I don't know, like I just think I've really learned that the present is such a gift, and just be in the moment and take it and run with it. And as like you could look at me and be like, oh, Morgan Pagel, she's got her whole life together. She has a good job, a podcast, a loft, couch, like, oh, she's got it. But we really don't know what things are behind closed doors. Like I do struggle with anxiety, and like I am still so lost in so many areas of my life, and I don't know. I simply don't know. But what I do know is that you have to take things day by day, and that it's not our job or responsibility to have our lives figured out. Like God has a plan for us, He has a purpose, and truly, so many times, like even in kids' books, we read about these books or even poetry, like it's so much about the journey. Like the journey is, the bulk of the movie, like the journey is really the gift, and at the end, that's where we like relish it. But I just think there's so much beauty, like even for me in this past year, just going through the things I have and making the choices I did and sticking up for myself, and like the journey to get to this version of Morgan was difficult, but it was beautiful. And so I just think like we don't have to think too hard about what the future holds. I think we just kind of like live and make sure that we're doing the right things today, doing the things today that are going to help us with our future and get us to the right place and surround ourselves with the right people. And I don't know, I think it's really difficult, and I think it's okay to admit that I don't know, because whenever I make really, really crazy decisions based on I don't know, that's when sometimes they're the wrong decisions. But I've really been focusing these days on trying to like figure out from every situation, like, well, what did I learn from that? Like, what did I gain from that? What can I take away that is a positive aspect? So that's kind of my life right now. Is the holidays were honestly crazy. New Year's, I was just chilling at my favorite little Friday night spot with my favorite people, and saw Lucas Gabriel again from High School Musical. He is from Springfield, so he just popped in. I was like, what up, dude? I recently went to the office trivia night here in Springfield, and I was supposed to go with a bunch of my coworkers and friends, and when my one coworker bought the ticket online, and it just immediately sold out. She's like, well, I'm not gonna go by myself. And me, being the podcast host and the crazy Latina I am, I was like, challenge accepted, So I go, and I just figured I would make friends when I get there. So I pull up, and right away I meet some people. I'm like, yo, you guys are in costumes. Like, you're cool. Can I join your team? We join the team, become friends. I was able to meet David Keckner, who's Todd Packer from The Office. So that was a super cool experience. He's tall in real life, and he's cool. But he does resemble Packer a little bit. I don't know. He's a cool guy, though. Like, I'm trying to get him on the pod someday. But that was just super cool. And I don't know. I have really big plans for the podcast this year. There's a lot of things happening. We have the 1 year party. Oh my gosh. We have the 1 year party coming up, and I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Like, this week kind of sucked. Like, I just felt so stressed out, and things do cost a lot of money, and just trying to make things perfect. But I don't know. I just think this party really needs to happen, and I think certain people need to be there, and God's gonna work it all out. And I'm not really concerned, but definitely party planning, I've really had to learn just like take it, one thing at a time. Everything's gonna be okay, and it's okay if you can't have everything you want. Like, it's okay, but really just taking in moment by moment. And it's definitely been an experience. Event planning, I never really thought would be something that I do, but here I am doing it. I'm a 23-year-old putting on a whole networking event. Wild. But so that is that. I don't know. So this whole solo pod has been crazy. I mean, the whole holiday season, everything. It's been an adventure. It's been a lot of unknowns, but also answered prayer. Like, I look around this loft and I just think, like, man, this is so crazy. This couch, like, the way that God provides, and it's wild. But I do want to say one thing. So I guess that's the December to January highlights. A lot of great things happen, a lot of vibes, a lot of craziness. I literally don't ever want to move ever again, because I'm saying that like I do love to travel, and maybe someday I'll move, but like I just hate moving so much. So love life. I know I've said a lot of things on the pod, like, blah, 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 and this, and I think I just, like, don't know. And I think that's the beauty of being in your 20s. Like, your 20s are it's, like, the best time and the worst time at the same time. Like, I can't even express it. Like, I can go anywhere and do anything with anyone, but also, it's, especially Generation Z, like, it just kind of sucks. Like, we be ghosting each other, and we stupid things mean stupid things, and it don't make sense. So anyways, I'm gonna just say this, like, I recently went on a date with this guy, and he was awesome. Like, it was probably the best date of my life, and we just hung out and like instantly clicked. Like, I've never had that on a first date where it was like, I've known this person for like all my entire life, and it was so fun, and it was so great. And I think it's just like one of those things where, I was so set in my way, and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe for this guy I would risk it all. Like, maybe for this guy I would seriously change my plans, And then, but sometimes those people like don't reciprocate how you feel, and they don't know where they want. Like, I don't know where he's at in his stage of life, and things kind of just fizzle, and it's disappointing, and it bums you out. But in that moment, at first I was kind of like, oh, but I remembered like who the heck I am, freaking Cash Money Morgan. I'm just kidding. No, but I'm not gonna let some dude bum me out. But I think what I took away from that situation for me was, dang, I cared about someone, like, in a way that was, I was like, man, I could like see something with this person. And I don't think I've just felt that way in a serious way, like, in a long time. And so I think that was really encouraging for me, is, you go on these dates and you meet different people, and you're being single, and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like, I'm not someone who like tries to really like ghost or anything. I'm not saying that's what this person did or anything. I'm just saying that it was really cool to be able to just vibe with someone. And yeah, maybe it didn't work out or whatever, and then who knows, maybe in the future it could, like, but just kind of being able to meet someone that I had so much fun with. And that's something that I've really been having a lot of self-awareness and realizing, like, that's what I really want in a future relationship is, I go on these podcasts and it's like every other episode I'm saying something different. You guys, that's why we love it, though. It's the chaos. We love how chaotic and how much I change every month. But I think in that example for me, like, say, okay, that, I never talk to that guy ever again. Like that's fine. I'm back to being single and being on my grind. Like, that's, for me, it's not like, ooh, open season, it's very much, I liked hanging out with that person, and I was willing to risk it all for that person, and since it didn't work out, back to the hustle. Like, I don't know, I just think it's a certain vibe, and maybe I just, I don't know, I don't know, I don't really care enough. But what I've really been just knowing in my life, and especially from past relationships and things, I'm like, I just want to have fun, like genuine fun. I don't want anything where like the guy is jealous of my confidence or I'm jealous of his. Like I just want it to be really goofy and fun and playful, and that's something I put a lot of priority on. And I really enjoyed that on that date. And so who knows, maybe there's something great like that in the future, but I'm really not concerned. Like you're sad for a day and then you put on a cute outfit and you move on. Like that's just how that works. But yeah. So there's that. My work has been doing really well. This has just been a crazy month. As New Year's go in corporate world, everything has to be done by the end of the year, and then January you're either slow or you're really, really busy. I would say we're kind of like a little bit like a little slower, but in the marketing world it is just really busy because I think you hold off a lot of things until the new year. So I released a new website and new videos and all these things, and so I feel like I've just been really busy at my day job, and then busy with the podcast and then the waitressing thing. So it's been a crazy time to be Morgan Pagel, but I just know that a lot of amazing things are coming. A lot of amazing things have come, and truly none of this growth and success has come alone. I mean, one, I'm very thankful for God, but two, my family, my friends. I mean, every ounce of my success is because, one, my hard work, but also the helpful hand of so many amazing people. And I'm very thankful for everyone who's helped me along the way. And even in this loft, I mean, the friend who showed it to me, I mean, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy what has happened this whole year. And even just to fathom that we're basically at a whole year of podcasting. I was a completely different person in the first episode than I am tonight. And it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it's very, very exciting. And I have high hopes for this podcast. I'm really trying to get sponsorships and ads because I really want to start just making like an income from this, but also being able to help support like a nonprofit here in Springfield. And I want to get more merch. So if I'm so sorry, there's like a horse in my throat. If you are someone who either is a part of a small business, or someone with a small business, or you feel like the demographic would be good, I do have a pretty good listener base, and they're all very loyal. I'm very thankful for all my listeners. And so if that's something that you think, oh my gosh, this would be a great idea, I want to partner, please reach out to me, because I would absolutely love that. And that's really my goal, is I want to be able to just start making some good side income from this, so we can just take it bigger and make it better, and so it's a very, very exciting time. And so yes, I think this episode's a little bit unhinged, a little bit all over the place. I don't really know, my brain is kind of just all over the place in general, but yeah, it's been a crazy couple months. I've learned a lot though. I think if you guys would have known me in college, especially my sophomore year, one of my top strengths is belief. And that means I'm very strong in my belief system of what I believe, which is a good thing. But I think in the past, I used to be a little bit like closed-minded, or very like, my way is the highway. And as 23, and as you get older and make friends and do all these things, you really just start to get to know people and appreciate people's differences and all of that. And it's been rewarding to work and live with different people that are different than me. I have as much life experience, and I was a little bit more closed-minded. And I definitely think, as a 23-year-old now, I have a lot more life experience, and I'm definitely just, I don't know, I think you just, your friends go through stuff and you're there with them going through it. You go through stuff and you meet people, and I just think you're more open as an individual. So something I've really been learning is that I meet really awesome people that have different belief systems than me is, first of all, it's just like a love thing. Like, just because someone doesn't agree with you politically or on religion or have the same moral code as you doesn't mean you don't still treat that person with like love and kindness and respect, you know, if they're treating with, you know, the same things for you. And there's so many people that I have, you know, differing beliefs with, but I don't put that on the top priority of, you know, hi, my name is Morgan, boom, like, what's your stance on this, you know? I think what we need to do as people is to love. And that's something that just my church has been popping off on too. I mean, they had a really great comment. They were saying, you know, if you have a political debate with someone and then after the political debate, like, you win, but you get them farther away from God, you lost. Because ultimately, what's our goal here? Like, our goal here is to live like Christ, to act like Christ, like to be a good person. And so just because they have a different belief than you, or their life is different, does not mean they're any less of an amazing person than you are. And so that's something that I've really been trying. I've just been trying to like live my life and like the ministry. Like, I want to live and be kind like Christ was. Like, it's just not my problem to, I feel, call people out or do whatever. Like, I just want to be kind and love on people. And because of that, I feel like I've made these awesome friends just with amazing people. And it's answered prayer, but the answer is no. And typically the answer is no sucks. But something I've realized in my life is I feel like sometimes God will do these things where he just let me have things for a season to help me get through that season. And I don't know if that makes sense to you in any way. And I don't even know if this is for real, but there's been times in my lives where like a guy will walk in, like right when I needed a guy to walk in, which that sounds crazy, but you don't know the situation. And then say we became friends, we talked for a while, and then after a certain amount of time, like it was just, it was over. Like it just didn't make, I didn't need it anymore in my life. And it wasn't like adding or anything in any way. And then the guy just fizzled. Like there's so many times I will pray about certain things and it will come or it will go. And it's fascinating. And I think getting the answer no sucks, but also it's the redirection sometimes for our life. And I don't know, I went to church this a couple of weeks ago too, and one of the sermons was like, what are you afraid to give up to God, that you're missing out on what's for you? And I really thought about that, and there was something that I was scared to give up, because if I felt like if I gave it up, if I gave up my baggage, if I gave up, you know, something that I was holding close to my heart that wasn't good for me, if I gave it up, I felt like I had nothing in that one area. And which is so stupid, because I have everything with God and everything he's given me. And I'm holding on to this stupid little remnant of a memory because it makes me feel like I have something. Like, how dumb is that? But, you know, when you think about it in your head, it just makes sense. And so I said, you know what? Like, I'll give it to you, God. Like, whatever. So I give it up to him, and I'm trying to be, like, disciplined and, like, not trying to, you know, check on this or this and this, like, social media-wise. And I really stick to it. And next thing I know, I ended up being able to open myself up to, like, another person or have a fun moment and just truly, like, let go and move on. And that took giving up when I felt like I couldn't. You know, so it's crazy to me how that is growth, how that is life, how we have to, like, click in and be like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, what is holding me back from my potential future? And just taking that time and really understanding and, like, getting close to God and asking him those questions. And that's where I just feel like, yes, my life looks different than it did 3 weeks ago, but I think that's normal. Like, that's the way of the game. Yeah, that's downtown life, baby. So the title of this podcast episode, which this one is just like, what? The title of this episode is The Year That You Go For It. And that's kind of how I feel about last year, but also this year. You know, 2022, I started the podcast because I really felt a need. And I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, the first couple episodes I recorded were awful. And then Alan and I did the first one and it was good. And even that, we did like 2 takes. I mean, just being able to see from back then, just the audio recording, then the audio recording had to get better, and then we finally did the video recording, and then finding the guests, and like, I used to take a nap every day after work, and now I barely get to nap, and so I'm on the grind, and just being able to see all these people who constantly are tuning in and are advocates and loyal fans and want to hang out and all these things, and giving me the texts that are like, hey, I've been going through an eating disorder, hey, I've been struggling with domestic abuse, like, just being able to impact someone is just so huge. And the fact that I've been able to have this platform to do that is just amazing. And I'm so thankful for everyone who listens. And it's so fascinating. But I want to encourage you that, like, I hope that this is the year that you go for it. Like, I am not special in any sense where I have some magical power gift that allows me to podcast and you can't. And I'm not saying you can't, like, you absolutely can, but I'm saying if your passion, like any passion, if you have a passion for cars and you're just like, oh, I'm so busy with this, I don't have time to work on a car, like, figure it out, like, move your schedule around, figure out where the priorities need to be, and then any of that other time, dedicate to your passion. And I think there's so many times you could look at me and be like, oh, you don't have enough downloads yet, like, you don't have enough this, and this, blah, blah, blah. I've consistently said that I truly think the secret to success is consistency. You're posting your posts on time, you're making things creative, you have the content, you're putting yourself out there, you're networking, you're introducing yourself, and people are gonna notice, people are gonna be interested in you, and it's been a journey. So, I mean, this whole year, I just, like, look at where I'm sitting, in this loft, on this couch. I'm thankful for my lawyer friend who helped me get out of that lease, with this podcast. I mean, if you're looking for a reason to go for it, I feel like I'm subject A. Like, this is a prime example of what it looks like when you say, all right, God, I trust you, bro. Like, take it, But that prayer is scary too, because he does take it. He takes things away too. As we said, answered prayer is not always the answer you want. Like, so it's definitely, it's been a fascinating year, but in 2023, in my mind, I keep telling people that that's the year for me, it's expert mode. It's not new year, new me, it's new year, better me. It's the year that I take all the knowledge I know and up a level. When you're playing We Fit and then you're went intermediate to expert, like, that's me. That's what I want. I want to get better at my craft. I want to be better at the podcast, get, bigger guests. I just want to have so much fun with this. Why not? Why not? I saw this quote the other day and it really stuck with me. And it was saying that the people who are often criticizing you for doing what you're doing are the ones who are afraid to do it, or the ones that aren't doing anything. And that's kind of fascinating, because when you think about it, like, other like hustlers or entrepreneurs or people in their bag, like, if I met someone with a podcast right now and say they had quadruple the downloads I had, they're gonna look at me and be like, keep going, like, you got it, I remember when I was there. They're not gonna look at me and be like, you're being stupid, like, what are you talking about? But sometimes people will say that, but they're not doing anything, And so I just think it's really important what advice we let in, what we take in from other people, and to be cautious. And, in the beginning, people could be like, keeping up with Cash is a dumb name. Cash Money Morgan is stupid. Well, you know what? It is kind of cringy, but I did it when I was like 16 and it just stuck. Like, I can't get rid of it now. Like, I like it. Like, whatever. I don't care what you think. But that takes a level of confidence to be like, I don't care what you think. Like, I like me. I like who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am because you don't like it. And I think that is a hard place to get for a lot of people. So, it's 2023 now. So much has changed in the past 3 years. But I want to encourage you to tap into whatever passions you have. And then point 2, what do you feel like you're not giving up that you need to in order to go in the direction of what you're supposed to go? For me, I had to give up doing this consistent thing I was always just doing for me to be able to experience something great with someone new. And, you have to be able to surrender those things to really move on and heal. And it's exciting. It's very exciting. So this episode, I also, just a little tangent, Super Bowl is coming up. I'm a Team Joey B fan all the way through and through. I think he's hot, but even besides that, do I think he's the hottest man alive? No, I don't think that. But I think he is hot. I just like the NFL with these young guys who just show up and they just ball out. And I know this totally took an ADHD turn. I was getting all deep with it, and then I got all football with it, but whatever. My personal opinion, I think we need to let Aaron Rodgers go. I would love to be able to get a new, fresh, young guy in there, rebrand Green Bay. We're an awesome city. We have so much clout. It's so much fun being there. Come on. I just think we need something exciting like when Pat Mahomes got to KC, because KC wins again. I just literally could never go to Kansas City then. I just can't. They're just really loud. And I know that's what people say when I walk into a room, but it's bro, come on, relax a little bit. When I went to their game, whenever I go to the game, there's always 3 fights in the crowd. And I'm okay, this is a little bit too much for me. It's those big high schools, I'm talking about the lunchroom. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, so I don't know. This episode has been kind of crazy. Life is wild. I feel like I'm missing something big, but I can't think about it. I don't know. All I know is this podcast party is coming, and I think the difference between me and a financial advisor is that not even the money aspect, but a financial advisor would say this to me. They would say, so what is your rate of return on this party? What exactly are you gaining from it? And I would say, that's a great question. I would say, well, one, we could have potential sponsorships, advertising, getting our name in Springfield, really doing these things. But really, I just see the benefit of having so many people I love in the same room connecting with each other. The podcast was started when I was in a really rough place. And to be able to have a celebration party just honoring freedom, restoration, healing, happiness, and then let other people enjoy it and see if they want to invest in that. I just think I'm someone who focuses a lot more on, this is what I feel is good for now. This is what I feel for now. And I am still smart with my money and all of these things, but that's why my heart and passion is so deep in this. And I just know that God is doing something, and I don't have anything figured out ever. No, absolutely not. But I'm really just taking this all day by day, because I don't really know. So I'm sorry this episode wasn't exactly what you were expecting. Honestly, I didn't really know. It's been a crazy week. I was supposed to do the episode 4 days ago, but it just didn't work out. And I know it's a little bit unorthodox or whatever, but yeah. I really want to roll out a new merch line as well. I actually just met with a designer friend of mine, and we bounced a bunch of ideas and all of these things. I'm really excited for the podcast. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy meeting people and helping people and being there, and it was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life. And truly, half of my best friends today, my mentors, all these people that mean so much to me, I didn't even know them a year ago. I didn't even know them. And as a nostalgic person, it freaks me out. I always think, oh my gosh, so much life changes and happens in a year. And I think as beautiful that is, it really freaks me out, for real. But yeah, so I don't know. There was also something I wanted to talk about too. Talking about the overwhelming and the podcast party and having a little bit of anxiety and, going on that really awesome date. This week in general, when I get anxiety, it's not like a normal person. I think some people just have anxiety. We've talked about it. Some people just have anxiety and take medication, or they don't, and they don't know how to manage it. For me, I really have circumstantial anxiety, and it's, I don't really have it all the time, but when a moment comes and I have anxiety and I overthink, it's bad. I sweat and throw up and I freak out and I'm all over the place. So just this whole week, I felt like I was behind in my party planning. I felt busy and tired. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I didn't feel well. Just like overthinking, feeling insecure, and all these thoughts come to my brain. And those thoughts you have to really be on top of, because I'm getting thoughts in my head like, you're this, you're that, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. And all of that is like the devil or stupid stuff. And so finally, you have to hold those thoughts captive. You have to literally not let those thoughts win in your mind. And I know for me as an overthinker, it's very difficult. And I finally just was like, this is dumb. Like, I would play worship music. My mom was like, just be still, bro, just relax, like lead with peace. I just started doing things that doing what I felt my spirit was right, and taking things day by day. And finally, I just really I was like, this situation is done. I'm not gonna put any more energy to it. It's done. I know who I am, I know my worth. And I'm like, the podcast party, it is what it is, and it's gonna be exactly whatever that is. And that's okay. Just kind of having to process that and just breathe in and breathe out and realize like, you're okay, you're alive, you're okay. But those moments, they feel like the end of the world to us, and they feel so huge. And when in reality, they're not. But, all those things do matter in the moment. And yeah. So I love you guys. I mean, I sit here on this little Friday night on my couch in my loft, and I'm in awe. Podcast party's coming up. I just can't believe this is my life. I can't. And I want to say thank you so much to all of you for listening and investing and reaching out to me and being such amazing friends, and people who listen and people who care and people who are just amazing, and figuring out life like right alongside me. Like, we're doing this together. We're figuring it out. Neither of us know. We're just on this journey. And honestly, it's been quite the journey, and I have such big plans for this year. And I love when you guys give input on merch, on pop-up ideas, on art, on anything that you think is a cool, crazy idea. I'm down for that. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being amazing. Thank you so much for keeping up with Cash. I'm obsessed with you all, and I have so many plans. And I just wanted to say that as 2023 is here, I encourage you to stay true to yourself, to pursue your passions, to give up the thing that is holding you back from, maybe it's a new person, maybe it's a new city, job, maybe it's a mental health thing. Like, what are you holding on to that is time to let go? And it's really hard, but we can do all things with Christ. So, and also I want to say, who are you afraid to love? In the sense of, is there someone in your life that maybe like, you've given judgment to, or you have just been rude to, or not a good Christian, or not a good person? Like, who are you not treating like Christ? You know what I'm saying? And I want to challenge you to be kind and loving, and maybe develop a friendship with someone that you normally wouldn't. I don't know. I think as my age, I've just realized that, being kind, being loving, being like a Christ figure is so much more important to me than trying to have this, like, you don't have to have the same belief system. You just have to love these people. You gotta love everyone. So thank you so much for being the absolute best. These next couple months are gonna be crazy, and I promise you the next solo pod will probably be more organized, and I'll probably also tie it in with a certain topic so we can kind of like talk about something more specific. But I have a lot of plans, and I can't wait. So you guys have the best rest of your Friday night. Cheers to the weekend, baby. Love you. Bye.